Prime Minister resigned. It's been a chaotic week across the board for the government, but it's been particularly unstable for the Department for Education.
There have been 3 education secretaries in just 3 days, starting the week with Nadeem Zahawi, then Michelle Donnellan, who quit after just 36 hours, and now it's James Cleverly.
I'm glad to say that Mr Cleverly joins us now from Westminster. Good morning to you, Mr Cleverly. Thank you for joining us. 3 education secretaries in 3 days hardly screams stability, particularly at a time, and there will be parents and there'll be students very concerned, understandably, about the GCSE and A-level results and other results that will be coming through at the end of August.
Yeah, look, this is not the circumstances that any of us would have wanted, but the events of this week have been unprecedented. I'm now glad that the Prime Minister made the statement he made yesterday, that he was able to fill ministerial appointments. I'm delighted to be at education. It's such an incredibly important area of government. And as you say, in the forthcoming weeks, there's some incredibly important events. The exam results come out. There'll be parents looking at where their children will be going to primary school. There'll be people looking to go to university. Leaders in education will be making plans about the forthcoming academic year. There's a lot going on. I spoke to a number of union leaders and others yesterday, my first day at the job, and we've got some important decisions to support them and parents and students over the next couple of weeks, and that's what I'll be focusing on.
So the problem, I suppose, for you and for the country is that it's not just 3 education secretaries in 3 days, it's 5 in 4.5 years, and that's the turmoil that area has been going through. And it's not just the exam results, is it? It's the exams themselves. There's a whole bunch of kids, of which I've got one in my family, that did GCSEs where they'd missed virtually 1 year of teaching on that. They found they went into exams where they'd been told by their schools, from the exam boards, from the government, utter confusion about what was in and out of the exams. I'm sure you're aware of the biology problems there. These children are terrified and worried. And of course, now, with a leadership election, they don't even know if you're going to be the education secretary, because a new leader might change again.
Well, look, I've got 2 children. I've got 2 sons. One of them missed his A-level exams because of COVID. The other one last year was sitting GCSEs, and his tuition, like thousands of children across the country, was disrupted. So I know exactly how parents feel, because I've been through that circumstance. We are looking at bringing the exam process back to normality. We want to do that in a fair, sustainable, progressive way. We want to make sure that the integrity of the exam process is as solid as ever. We want to make sure that there is a degree of calmness and certainty for the students, for the teaching profession, and also for their parents and guardians. So you're right, that is an important piece of work. None of us know how long we are ever in ministerial appointments. There has been a lot of churn at Secretary of State level in education. I think in other ministerial appointments in the education department, there has been more continuity. But you're right. I think people understandably crave a degree of certainty, and I'll be working as hard as I can for as long as I'm in the role to try and bring some of that certainty to the students, their parents and the profession.
Do you know how many positions are still vacant in the Education Ministry?
Well, there are a couple of ministerial positions still vacant, but I know the Prime Minister is making further ministerial appointments.
But with that in mind, now the Prime Minister has made a decision to stand down. We had all of those resignations on Monday until he finally came to on Wednesday, until he finally came to that conclusion. With that in mind, will he welcome back some of those people that had to make that decision in order to get him to understand that he needed to leave? Or some of those people that stepped down, would they be welcomed back to those roles, do you think? Because that would be a very quick way of getting people that have been in the role, that know the continuity of those departments and what's going on, back in the job and doing the job that they were doing before.
Yeah, you make a very, very good point. And I've been watching the ministerial appointments. But let me take an example very close to home. Will Quince, who was an excellent minister in the department, he felt the need to stand down earlier this week. He has been reappointed to the Department for Education. It's incredibly good news. I know he was well liked, well respected, and very effective in the job. I'm delighted to have him back on the team. So the Prime Minister has, of course, demonstrated a huge amount, I think, of pragmatism in terms of the people he's reaching out to. And I hope that the people who are receiving phone calls from Number 10 recognise that there is an important job of work to do, that we are here to serve the people of the country, and the Prime Minister has said he is going as soon as a replacement is found, and that actually I do think we have a duty to support the country by serving in government, even if people have had issues with the Prime Minister himself.
Now, there is a leadership race ahead.
There is.
I understand that you've ruled yourself out because of personal circumstances. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
I notice also that you're wearing a Royal Artillery tie. Does that mean that Ben Wallace, fellow military man...
Tom Tugendhat as well.
Yeah, I know, who is the #1, and certainly in the polls, and also Tom Tugendhat, who's also a military man. They are two people, you know, that are right there in the race. Tom has actually thrown it in, hasn't he, and officially said he's running. Will you be supporting either of those? Is that a subtle message with the tie?
Well, I'm going to borrow a historical military phrase. I'm going to keep my powder dry for the moment. Look, I know Tom really well. I know Ben really well. I know, and I'm on very, very good terms with a number of people who have said they're going to run, or who we suspect might run. I think we are in a really good place as a party in having a wealth of diverse experience. You mentioned people with military experience, we have people with business experience, we have people with public sector experience. I think we're in a really, really good place, and I think whoever is ultimately chosen to be the Prime Minister of the country will do an outstanding job, because we have such a wealth of talent to choose from within the parliamentary party. But as I say, at the moment, I'm going to keep my powder dry.
So you just grabbed that tie first thing this morning. It wasn't something that it's a little bit more strategic.
So it's Friday. Friday's tie day. Friday is the day you wear your regimental tie.
Oh, OK.
That's a good get-out as well. I like it.
It's a good get-out.
Mr. Cleverly, thank you for joining us. And bear in mind, we'll be assessing your ties, your glasses, your shirts, the pocket squares, the whole thing for the next couple of weeks.
Your name gives you a point.
Yeah, it does as well. Good to see you.